Hello there. I'm Wes Collins, Redline Reptiles and Exotics. Here today, I just kind of wanted to talk with you about enclosures and enclosure sizes. And I also have a guest, my ball python. She's a orange dream pastel. Her name's Roxy. She's my hired gun. She's wrapped around my phone case. But I thought today we'd kind of discuss on what I use for enclosures and why I use them. And as being a hobby keeper, I'm a small keeper. I have 12 snakes and 30 or so tarantulas and many different frogs and geckos. And you can go back and look at my tour of my reptile room. But today I just wanted to discuss enclosures I use. I personally use, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I personally use Dubia roach enclosures. And the reason I use them enclosures is because they're very budget friendly especially for a new keeper and someone just getting started. But even for someone that's been doing it a while like me, I can't go out and afford to buy these $1,000 enclosures. But Dubia roach makes an enclosure that's very budget friendly and with high quality. And that's what really got me when I first, I've tried many different enclosures, and man, I just couldn't find one that was that had the quality. And one day I was actually ordering some insects for my tarantulas, and I always used Dubia roach, and didn't realize that they sold enclosures. And I started looking at them, and I'm like, I seen the price, and I'm like, man, that can't be, right. It was so budget friendly, and I was like, they must not be made very well. So I ordered one, and it got here, and man, it only took me like by myself 20 minutes, and most of that was just peeling the protective film off the glass and the PVC. And when I started putting it together, it was so I almost didn't even have to look at the instructions. It was pretty self-explanatory. But I double-checked things, and Roxy, she's trying to get up here, so we're going to let her roam a little bit. This is what I let all my snakes free roam. That's the reason we have the cameras up here. But I was putting this together, and I was like, wow, this stuff is really made very well. And I did, after I had bought it, I read stories about the bottoms being kind of thinner than the most of the other enclosures. But I kind of found that helpful because I use belly heat and along with lighting, for my snakes, and man, it heated up so well, after I got it put together. But I'm kind of jumping ahead. But this was made very well, and it was so quick to put together. And so, I set it up, and actually, she was the first one I set it up for. And this has been a while back, when she was just coming out of her 40-gallon breeder, and she was a little baby then, And but we got it put together and got her in it, and man, it was nice. It was really set up, and I'm like, man, I can't believe this to be such a like I said, a budget-friendly enclosure for especially for beginners. I said, you can't beat this. And so I ended up buying I think 6 more. In a total, I bought 11. And I ain't gonna lie to you, that's unless they change something drastically, I'm not changing. I love these enclosures. A lot of people don't like the glass sliding doors, but I love them because when you get them clean and ain't a lot of The worst part of it, the con, I guess, with, fingerprints, you have to kind of keep them wiped off, with glass. But man, I love these enclosures. They got the grommets for your probes and on both sides, and like I said, they even give you the tool to put it together, and it fits really tight. So you have to use that tool on a good hard surface. Another con some people might think is you're going to have to seal the bottom yourself if got a snake that needs humidity or something, because it would probably leak out in the corners, which I always seal all my enclosures anyway. And so, but that probably was the longest part of it, was sealing it, because I always put a bead around the bottom. But man, for the price, you can't beat them. And another thing I like about them is because of the price point and the quality, you can have many enclosures, so you don't have to worry about upgrading your snakes, so much, because you can actually afford to upgrade many snakes. And I think that's where a lot of these companies that make these high-priced enclosures are kind of forgetting about the hobbyists, because that's the majority of. To me, I would think of any reptile community is going to be mostly, the hobbyist or the small keeper like me. And but another thing, it allows you to upgrade. A lot of people can't afford to upgrade, and so they build. And I be honest with you, I tried to build one this size, and it's going to cost you as much, if not more, than if you just went out and bought this enclosure. That's the crazy part about it, and it looks much nicer. I mean, it's really. I mean, it's. I'm using the spacer. I bought the spacer as well. We keep this open for ventilation, but these things are sturdy, and the spacer just fits right in perfect. I had no problems with them, and even when I did. I don't even think I had a problem, but I did have some questions. You can go to their website and actually hit the chat button and ask them questions. And I did that, and they responded very quickly. And that was nice, And so I just wanted to give a shout out to Dubia Roach for keeping the small keeper in mind. That was really, really nice. And like I said, I want to talk a little bit about why I think people should upgrade into larger enclosures, with their snakes. Is, for one, it makes for a beautiful talking point. If you have this in your living room or out and you have a reptile room like I do, I have many people that come over and just wants to hold my snakes and see them. And the first thing they say is, wow, that's so nice. That's it makes it more attractive for them to see the snake in the enclosure. And I try to keep a naturalistic environment for them, because to me it just looks nicer and kind of, lets them feel like they're, safe within that environment. They have many places to hide. We put a lot of branches in, if you notice, and for them to climb on and so on, and a lot of fake pothos. But it's a good talking point for people that are coming in to see. And another thing with the big enclosure, once your snakes gets used to it, and here's the key: a lot of people think, well, if I get this big enclosure, my snake's going to stop eating. It's and it's going to be scared. They do have to transition. I'm not going to sit and lie to you and say, well, it's just you put them in there and they're just going to come out and bask and all that. It takes time for anything. Just like if you move in a house, it's going to take time for you to get used to it. But it builds confidence in your snake. And that's where I think enrichment comes in, is the key to transitioning to a bigger enclosure, because my snakes didn't seem to have such a transition, because I took my snakes out daytime and nighttime enrichment. I wear night vision goggles and I let them roam the yard, and we have a jungle gym outside, and in the daytime. And it has built it's stimulated their brains and has built confidence. And so now their confidence is so high, they're not afraid to be handled by other people. They're very social. Never miss a feeding. I've never had any snake go off food with me, and I've kept for a long time now. And actually, I make the joke that sometimes I wish they would go off food, or else they don't miss a meal. But I'm just joking about that. I'm so proud of my snakes. But you can see their confidence. They're not afraid to, to be handled or anything. And I think it's because enrichment, taking them out and doing things with them. And a lot of mine's choice based. I open the door and they can come out. It's just like Roxy was actually cryptic basking. Half her tail was on the rock at the basking light hits, and the rest of her was kind of behind the log. And I opened the door, and first thing she does is peep out. And this is the first thing she does is she wants to come out. And this is during the day. I don't know what time. I think it's about 12 here, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so that kind of tells you something because, and not all snakes come out all the time. I ain't saying they're constantly basking or anything because they cryptic bask. They come out and I may not, I can look on my cameras and the cameras is a very good thing to have because you can kind of see their behavior when they're not, around because, these record. And that's another thing I want to get into in the next video. Next video that's coming out is going to be on the cameras, the lighting I use, how we set it up. We have dedicated breakers for my reptile room, surge protectors, and digital timers that a lot of these things are set on. We're going to get into that and how to budget friendly to use lighting, because that's another reason a lot of people don't like to use UVB because it's expensive. And I've kind of been on a budget myself. I've had to really compare different products and quality, and I've bought a lot of things, and that's sitting in my storage, because it wasn't good or the quality wasn't there. And but I also need it to be budget friendly to where I can buy a lot of it, And so the next video will be more into that. It'll be quite long, may even have to be, 2 parts, because it's extensive. Because I want to get into the cameras. The cameras are wonderful. We have 3 of them, and these cameras track. So if your snake gets out, will track it throughout the room. And if this one don't pick it up, the other one will pick it up. And they're very affordable. These are Cassos, I think's how you pronounce it. It's Kasso. I got them off Amazon. They've been a blessing. I got one tarantula that has escaped 3 times. I couldn't figure out how she was escaping, and the camera picked it up and caught it, and watched the footage and went straight to where the tarantula was at. And so these has just been a blessing. And it also lets you see what they're doing, because a lot of people saying, well, my snake just stays in the hide all the time. Well, you don't know that. At night, these things have got night vision too. And you can see what they're doing at night, And so I really want to get into those. But I would recommend getting you some of those, even if it's just for precautions. And I also would suggest getting night vision and taking your snake out for nighttime enrichment if you have a big enough yard, and you have to be careful. I keep a light and stuff, but you can watch that video where I take them out. I won't get into more of that. I'm actually going to get my night vision goggles actually record, and I have a lot of footage, but I got to get it off of the night vision onto some a platform that I can upload it. But I don't want to get too much into all this other stuff. But the enclosures, I just wanted to hit on, because I don't generally just go around bragging or telling people how much I like a product, because, A lot of times, products will change over time to make more money, and the quality goes down or whatever. But I can honestly say I've been buying from Dubia Roach the Enclosures for a couple of years now, and the price always stays reasonable. They had to go up a little bit because of the tariffs, and I was kind of didn't know if I wanted to order anymore because I thought maybe the quality would go down because most people want to make up for that, where they can make more of a profit, but they didn't. I just ordered 2 more and they're over here. We upgraded the corn snake and my son's ball python. But I think a lot of this company, so I thought I would kind of do a video kind of showcasing them because, like I said, I think the smaller keeper and the hobbyist, keeper would benefit. You could upgrade, more snakes quicker. And I plan on doing another breeding. I'm going to do a breeding project that I'd like to do, and I'm going to use Dubia Roach. They're 40-gallon breeders for the babies. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that, and I just want to thank you for watching. I'd like to give a shout out to there's some great content creators out there. I want to give a shout out to Shira with Snake Therapy. If you ain't went and watched her yet, I advise go and watch her. She's really gets into how snakes can help people with autism and kind of I don't know the word, kind of mental disorders and neurodivergence. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me. I'm terrible with words, but anyway, she gets in. She's got a lot of good interviews with people that's kind of like me. I have PTSD, and my snakes help me with that. Anyway, check her out. She's awesome. She does a lot of stuff, making stuff too. She makes fake logs and limbs and just great ideas that can help you if you're on a budget for, the beginner snake, people that's getting into snakes and are beginners. Also, Lori Torini. If you ain't watched her, you need to watch her. All my snakes are target trained. She's awesome. She gets into snake behavior and stuff like that, how to target train. You'd definitely enjoy watching her. Then on the comedic side, and also knowledge and enrichment side, I suggest Bob Bledsoe from Green Room Pythons. These people I mentioned, I watch regular. I love them. I try not to miss an episode. I would watch him because he's got great ideas and he makes it fun to watch as well. His video will be better than mine because he makes it fun. But anyway, and then you have Amy Benzie and Garrett. I hope I say his last name right. Hardle. Reach Out Reptiles. Kevin McCurley from Nerd. Awesome. And you have Snake Discovery. These people you can learn from. And don't take everything. Everybody has a different way of keeping. Not everything may suit you, and so things I try to stay away from is clickbait. If you see people out there always talking about, oh, I got bit or some kind of biting video, that's to draw people in. I'm totally against that. I think we should discuss being bitten and stuff like that, but I'm not going to use clickbait. If I'm going to talk about how a bite feels or anything, it's just going to be within the subject that I'm talking about. Because like I said, I ain't here to get monetized and don't care. And I don't care if people like me because I'm against it. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in because I think that puts our reptiles in a negative light. And if you believe that it's a good way to actually to draw people in to teach them about snake care, then you're wrong. You're dead wrong. It puts that's just that's like taking a wrong and saying it's and making it right. It's not. It's wrong. It's all it is. It's ethical. And so I'm not going to be doing that. Yet I'm going to try to use catchy words to describe what's going on, but I'm not going to use clickbait that puts any of my animals in a negative light, because they're great animals, great pets. And really, that's all I got to say and discuss today. And I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment or ask. Don't if you do like the content, like it. You know, uh, and just check these other people out, because you'll learn a lot from them. I keep an open mind. I'm a keeper that stays open minded, because you're never too old to learn something. And these creatures are so intelligent, you will learn something from them, and they will teach you something. They're probably more valuable as far as teaching us than we are teaching, because we're so I guess our egos, we think we're the smartest thing on earth. And there may be things I say that you disagree with. I don't mind that you tell them. I may argue back with you, but I'm going to stand up and do what's right for these animals, because they're beautiful, and they're intelligent. And like I said, I ain't going to ramble on. Let's have a great and blessed day. Thank you.